Hello everyone, my name is Astrinia Hevelisa and I will begin our group presentation by introducing the main issue that has become increasingly critical among the students, which is academic stress. First of all, what exactly is stress in the context of students? Student stress refers to the emotional, mental, or physical pressure experienced when the demands of learning exceed their ability to cope. It can come from various factors such as heavy workloads, examination, poor time management, high parental expectation, and competitive school environment. Next, why is stress considered a major issue in education? In today's education system, students are not only expected to excel academically, but also to be active in co-curricular activity, meet family expectation, and compete with peers. This pressure often leads to an unhealthy imbalance between academic responsibilities, social life, and rest. If not managed properly, stress can result in fatigue, loss of motivation, anxiety, depression, and in more serious cases, burnout. According to youth mental health reports, about 30 to 40% of secondary school students experience academic stress that affect their daily functioning. This shows that stress is no longer an isolated issue, but a widespread phenomenon that directly impacts teaching and learning. Therefore, the purpose of our presentation today is to explore the cause of stress among students, identify its signs and symptoms, and propose effective strategies to manage and reduce stress. This issue is closely related to the teaching and learning process because stress levels have a significant influence on academic performance, attendance, motivation to learn, and overall emotional well-being. We hope that through this presentation we can better understand the issue of student stress and work towards creating a healthier and more supportive learning environment. That concludes the introduction from me. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will discuss stress and its effect on learning and memory in students from a psychological perspective. Stress is a common experience for students arising from exams, assignments, or social pressure. While some stress can motivate us, excessive stress can negatively affect how we learn and remember information. So, let's talk about definition of psychological stress. According to Lazarus and Folkman in 1984, stress occurs when an individual perceives that the demands of the environment exceed their resources to cope. In other words, stress happens when we feel we cannot handle the challenge we face. For students, this might include academic pressure, social expectation, or even time management issues. The perception of being overwhelmed is what triggers the stress response, which can influence our focus, memory, and overall learning. When students experience stress, the body activates the fight or flight response. The sympathetic nervous system releases hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, increasing heart rate, breathing, and attention. While this response can temporarily improve alertness, chronic activation can negatively affect learning and memory. For example, students under constant stress may struggle to concentrate during lesson or exam, reducing their ability to retain information. For the key theory, the first theory is cognitive load theory. Cognitive load theory, introduced by Sweller in 1988, explained that the human brain has a limited capacity to process information at any given time. Stress increases both intrinsic and external cognitive load, making it harder for students to encode and recall new information. For instance, a student stressed during a complicated genetics problem might forget familiar or concepts that they have already learned. And for the second theory, Yerkes-Dodson law, the Yerkes-Dodson law describes an inverted U relationship between stress or arousal and performance. Moderate levels of stress can enhance focus and improve learning outcomes. However, too little stress may result in boredom and lack of motivation, while too much stress can overwhelm students, reducing memory, retention, and problem-solving ability. Stress and brain function. Stress also affects specific brain regions related to learning and memory. The prefrontal cortex manages planning, decision-making, and problem-solving. Chronic stress impairs its function, making it harder for students to think critically. The hippocampus is essential for forming long-term memories. High cortisol levels due to stress can shrink the hippocampus, disrupting memory consolidation. The amygdala amplifies negative emotions, increasing anxiety and fear, which further affect concentration and learning. So, for the conclusion, in conclusion, stress is a natural part of student life, but unmanaged stress can impair attention, learning, and memory. Students can adopt strategies such as effective time management, relaxation technique, mindfulness, and seeking social support to manage stress. Understanding psychological theory of stress help educators design lesson and assessment that reduce cognitive overload and support student well-being. Ultimately, the goal is to balance stress to improve performance while maintaining mental health. Thank you for listening. By understanding stress and its impact on the brain, both students and teachers can create a learning environment that promotes success and well-being.
Hello everyone, my name is Siti Nazwanira binti Lambayung and I will be presenting the third part of our topic, which is the effect of stress on memory and learning in students. Stress is something that all students experience at the same point. Is that not only affect to our emotion and mood, but it also affect our process to get information, store knowledge, and perform academically. In this section, I will explain how stress affects short-term memory, working memory, and long-term memory. And I will also explain how it influences focus, motivation, and overall learning performance. Let's start with short-term memory, which is our ability to temporarily hold information like remembering a formula during class. When students are stressed, their brain ability to hold this information is reduced. They may forget the instruction quickly and find it hard to recall facts during lesson and struggle to make decisions. For example, I study hard for math test, but when the exam start, I have anxiety, and the information that I already memorized. When I study hard for math test, but when the exam start, I'm being anxiety and forget all things that I already memorized. So this is a typically effect of stress on short-term memory. Next, working memory. Working memory is used when students need to actively process and manipulate information like solving math problems, writing essay, and understanding complex passages. High stress reduce the capacity of working memory, making students more prone to mistake and less efficient in processing information. For instance, a stressed student may struggle to follow the step in math problem and find it hard to understand a long paragraph in reading comprehension. Finally, stress also affects long-term memory, which is essential for storing knowledge over days, weeks, or even months. Chronic stress makes it difficult for students to store new information effectively and recall previously learned information during exam. For example, a student who has repeatedly studied a topic may still struggle to recall it during a test because stress prevents the brain from properly storing the information. For the effect of stress on learning, first, stress not only affects memory, but it also learning as a whole process. First, reduce focus and attention. When students are stressed, their brain enter a survival mode, which means attention is easily disrupted. Even minor distraction in class, like a small noise, can break their concentration. This makes it hard to absorb new information effectively. Second, there will be lower motivation because stress often causes students to feel tired, lost interest in study, and doubt their own abilities. When stress is prolonged, it may lead to learn helplessness, where students believe that no matter how hard they try, they cannot succeed, and they eventually stop making effort. High levels of stress are strongly linked to lower grade, lack of interest in learning, and panic during exam. Even if students memorize materials, stress can block their ability to apply knowledge critically. For example, a student might memorize facts for history, but during the exam, they struggle to answer any analytical question. So, stress has a significant impact on student memory and learning. It affects short-term memory, working memory, and long-term memory, while also reducing focus, motivation, and overall academic performance. Understanding this effect is crucial for student and teacher alike. By recognizing the impact of stress, we can adapt strategies to manage it and create a supportive learning environment that helps students achieve their best. That's all for me. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. The next content is the effect of stress in the context of education. Going to introduction, stress or pressure is a phenomenon that is no stranger to human life, especially in the field of education. Stress occurs when a person feels overwhelmed by academic demands, numerous assignments, and high expectation from parents and teachers. We're going to effect on students. Students are the group most exposed to stress in education. Prolonged stress can affect academic performance because students find it difficult to concentrate, become forgetful, and lose motivation in study. In terms of mental health, stress can trigger anxiety, depression, and feeling of hopelessness. Physical effects such as headaches, sleep disturbances, and chronic fatigue are also common. Suddenly, we're going to effect on teacher. Teachers are not exempt from experiencing stress. Heavy workloads, pressure to achieve academic targets, and the responsibility of educating the next generation can cause serious strain. Stressed teacher may lose motivation, become less patient, and see a decline in teacher quality. Prolonged stress can lead to burnout, which is severe physical and mental exhaustion. Relationship between teachers, student, and college may also be affected. Therapy disrupting the positive learning environment that should exist. Okay. The next is effect on the education system. Widespread stress among students and teachers can negatively impact the education system as a whole. Classroom environment become tense and less conducive to learning. Student dropout rates may increase because they are unable to cope with the pressure. Productivity and school performance decline, ultimately affecting the reputation of educational institution. This shows that stress is not merely an individual problem but also influences the effectiveness of the national education system. And in conclusion, stress in education has significant effect on students, teachers, and the education system. Although stress cannot be completely avoided, it can be managed through effective time management, social support, physical activity, and a positive learning environment. Education is not only about pursuing academic success, but also about nurturing mental and emotional well-being. Therefore, all parties must work together to minimize stress in education in order to produce a generation that is both excellent and well-balanced. That's all for context of education, stress context of education. Thank you.
So, hello everyone, my name is Ronald. In this part of the presentation, I will share some practical suggestions for managing stress among students. And I'm wrap up our discussion with a conclusion. First, effective time management is crucial. Many students feel stressed because they procrastinate or don't plan their schedule properly. By using planner or digital apps, students can break tasks into smaller, manageable steps, which makes studying less overwhelming. Second, school and teachers should provide an environment that support mental well-being. Counseling program, balance extracurricular activities, and comfortable rest space can help reduce stress and give students a sense of security. Third, students can practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, light exercise, or mindfulness. Research shows that mindfulness not only reduce stress but also improve focus and memory. Fourth, a positive classroom atmosphere make a big difference. Teachers can adopt a more supportive approach, encourage students, and avoid excessive pressure during exam. When students feel safe and value, they are more motivated and able to learn effectively. In conclusion, stress is unavoidable part of student life, but with the right strategies, it can be managed and even turn into motivation for growth. We hope this presentation has raised awareness about the importance of mental well-being in education. So let's work together to make school not only place of learning but also space that nurture emotional health and resilience. So thanks for listening, and let's all take small steps to reduce stress and enhance learning. Thank you.